Colonial history of Gabon and the struggle for independence. Nestled on the equator along Africa's west coast, Gabon is a land of lush rainforests, winding rivers, and rich natural resources. But behind its beauty lies a complex history, one shaped by colonial exploitation, class struggle, and the quiet courage of everyday people. In this video, we'll explore the colonial history of Gabon, examine how class divisions shaped the fight for independence, and highlight the often overlooked contributions of women, youths, and ordinary people in Gabon's journey to self-rule. Gabon was not always a French colony. For centuries, it was home to diverse ethnic groups like the Fang, Punu, Kota, and Mieni who traded along the coast, built unique cultures, and lived independently. But in 1839, French explorers began establishing footholds along the Gabon estuary. By 1885, Gabon had been formally incorporated into French Equatorial Africa, becoming part of France's vast imperial project in Central Africa. Under colonial rule, Gabon became a hub for resource extraction, especially rubber, ivory, and later oil. The French imposed heavy taxes, forced labor systems, and seized fertile lands from local communities. At the top of the social pyramid were French administrators and a small group of assimilated elites known as évolués, who adopted the French language and customs in exchange for privileges. Below them sat the majority of farmers, laborers, and fisherfolk who worked long hours under brutal conditions, often without fair pay or rights. By the early 20th century, nationalist ideas began spreading across French colonies. In Gabon, early resistance took the form of localized uprisings and protests against forced labor. One notable figure was Simon Kimbangu, whose spiritual movement inspired many to resist colonial authority, though he was ultimately imprisoned by the Belgians for his activism. These early struggles laid the groundwork for a broader anti-colonial movement that would grow in the decades to come. Women have always been central to Gabon's political and social fabric, even if their stories are rarely told in mainstream history. They worked as traders, healers, and farmers, sustaining families during times of repression. Many organized underground networks, smuggled messages, and supported activists hiding from colonial authorities. Some led protests against unjust taxation and conscription. Others preserved cultural traditions that resisted assimilation, ensuring that Gabon's identity remained strong despite colonial pressures. Youths and students became a powerful force in the push for independence. Inspired by global movements in Algeria, Ghana, and Vietnam, young Gabonese studied abroad and returned with radical ideas about freedom. Within Gabon, students formed clandestine groups, distributed anti-colonial pamphlets, and led demonstrations demanding self-determination. Their energy and idealism gave momentum to the broader independence movement, showing that change could not be stopped. Beyond formal politics, it was ordinary people, fishermen, market vendors, rural workers who kept the flame of resistance burning. Some refused to work under exploitative conditions. Others boycotted colonial institutions. Still others preserved cultural traditions that resisted assimilation. Their everyday acts of defiance made it impossible for the French to maintain full control, even before formal independence. On August 17, 1960, Gabon officially gained independence from France. Léon Meba became the first president of the newly sovereign nation. While some feared instability after colonial rule ended, Gabon's transition was relatively peaceful compared to other former colonies. Yet, the legacy of colonialism, including deep economic inequalities and regional tensions, continued to shape the country's development. The legacy of Gabon's independence struggle is complex. While formal colonialism ended, many of the same class inequalities persisted under new rulers. Yet, the courage of women, youth, and ordinary people who stood up against the empire remains a vital part of Gabonian identity. Understanding this history through a class lens reminds us that true liberation is not only about political sovereignty, but also about economic justice and social transformation. From the bustling capital of Libreville to the sacred forests of Loango National Park, the people of Gabon continue to shape their destiny. As Gabon moves forward, the lessons of the past remain crucial, reminding us that real progress comes not just from leaders, but from the collective strength of all people. If we want to understand Gabon today, we must remember the class struggles of its past and the ordinary people who dared to rise. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through Gabon's untold history. Let us know in the comments what other stories from Africa's liberation struggles you'd like to see covered. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we continue to explore the stories that shaped Africa's past and future. Together, let's celebrate the legacies that define us. Until next time, stay critical and keep questioning.